What's something that you think is okay to be judgmental about? Be sure to post in the comments what you condemn. Interesting to read. Enjoy watching. Story 1. Why not support your family? Turn out some are. Have anger management problems. Liars, cover-up artists, criminal minds, whores, and mental disorders. But always a cover-up and dump the shit to the black sheep. Guess what? I am the black sheep who sees through their bullshitting. Story 2. People who decide to stop in the middle of a footpath to think or chat. Ones that walk in the middle and expect everyone to get out their way because they important or something. And ones who leave their bikes, cars, strollers, carts, bags, luggage in the middle of any path. Story 3. Penmanship. I work security and other guards have to log incident reports during their shifts. This would be fine if the reports were intended for them and them only. But everyone needs to read these as it lets us know what to expect when we arrive to a job site for the first time. More often than not, these people write wholly illegibly. It is mind-blowing to see the handwriting of an adult human in which it appears as though it was done by a drunk 4-year-old. Story 4. Profane car accessories. This'll make me sound like such a boomer. I get it. You're a badass buddy. You don't need bumper stickers asking people to pull your hair while riding your ass and a big pair of truck nuts hanging from the hitch you've never used once. Kink-related stuff in particular. There's just some shit you don't gotta air out for everyone looking at your trunk. Sexuality is obviously cool. I mean BDSM type shit. Story 5. People who hate on reading. I'm not talking about people who struggle with reading due to a disability and make jokes or complaints about reading because of that. I'm talking about the people who act like reading is stupid and make fun of people for being nerds for enjoying reading. It's a phenomenon that more common than people think. It's like these people have adopted anti-intellectualism as their whole personality. Story 6. I'm a little judgmental about people having child after child when the situation just isn't good for kids. My friend's brother, for example, has 5 kids. He has severe mental health problems. The kids are constantly living in filth. They're begging everyone for diapers and baby food. They can't hold down reliable jobs. My friend is his neighbor. Her brother's oldest daughter practically lives with her now and has taken to calling my friend mom and saying she wishes she were her mom, not her aunt. Doctors warned her brother that given his instability, it was best he never have children. The hereditary risk of it being passed down was too great. So of course he had 5. Just utterly selfish, impulsive decision-making. Story 7. People who complain that they're bad at math which don't study. Don't get me wrong, if you're bad at math but you're trying to get better, all power to you. But the amount of times I've seen someone complain they're bad at math while never making an attempt to get better at it, even with having a lot of free time, is infuriating. The thing is, math might be the most accessible topic to study. There are hundreds of great sources to learn math. Hell, YouTube tutorials on math are some of the best you'll find. It's just annoying that it's always the people who never study always complaining about math. Story 8. My credo is, do what you want as long as you're not stopping someone else from doing what they want. So being egoistic, dirty, disruptive, too loud, rude, unfair, also being unwilling to change and learn things at a young age is something I judge. Like when you are 20, you can't just say you never learned XY and pretend that once you're out of school, the opportunity to learn something is missed. You have to live like that. I have so many young coworkers that barely know how to send an email and they always are, I can't, I don't know. Then learn it or find it out, maybe. Story 9. I think judging people's character rather than their behavior is worthy of judgment, and it is internally consistent because it also is a behavior. Nobody chooses their parents, and so many other factors have to fall into place for our own life circumstances to unfold as they do. Free will is an illusion, and we could build a better society if the most successful realized they can't stake a true claim to their success. And if everybody realized that those who seem evil also cannot lay claim to those behaviors, even though as a society we still need to sequester them until such time that we have a cure for what ails them. There is no justification for hate or prideful disdain in a world that is free from character judgment. Story 10. People that are against abortions. To me, I don't know the mother's reason, but the child can go ahead and have a painful, neglected, and abusive life that they don't know they are about to enter. Also, child sex trafficking sounds great. It is always privileged people that never touched the dark reality, or even better, for their religious reasons. Very self-centered perspective, the child should suffer due to my religious beliefs and ideas. If you don't believe in abortions, sign an agreement to fund a future mother's child until the child is 18. That mother most likely does not want or doesn't have the means for a child. It is partially about the mother, but mainly about the future child that didn't get to choose their life or parent. Kids get sold by their crackhead coke addict parents for services to adults. for a few bucks. Those poor, scarred children become incomplete adults, with a lot of hurt, without love. Those children did not choose that life. That life was chosen for them. And there will be more of such cases as abortions get banned. Lots of pain, abuse, neglect. Some people should not have children, and they know it. CPS are not as helpful as people like to believe. Foster care systems are not that great, and a lot of bad things happen there to innocent little humans. Story 11. I love the top comment. Hell yeah, people who throw trash out their car window are, well, trash. But it reminds me of a conundrum a female friend encountered years ago. She was dating a new dude and things were fine, but one day he bought Taco Bell, and after finishing, he threw his Taco Bell garbage in the little trash bin in his bedroom. She was like, "Aren't you going to throw that out in the kitchen?" He said no. She said, "I don't want to be in here if it's going to smell like old Taco Bell." They argued. New relationship over. I love that story. Story 12. People who are distracted while going through a line, buffet or something like grocery store or movies. You know why you are there and what you need to do? Pay attention. A close second are people who take forever to do simple items like put their bag in the overhead bin and sit down on an airplane. See that line behind you, person? GTFO the way. Story 13. Parking in disabled parking stall without the placard being properly displayed or expired. Then finding the driver of the vehicle isn't the person assigned to that placard and doesn't have a disability that warrants using the placard. I'm disabled and have that placard that meets all the requirements to allow my person driving me to park in the disability stall. And yet when this occurs, I become very judgmental of the violator, which I don't hold my tongue towards either. I'm a war veteran with no right leg at all and the other leg only exists from above the knee. I never want or expect special treatment for my disabilities for the most part. But when it comes to where we can part and get my riding device out of the trunk, I believe that takes priority over laziness of an abled body looking for convenience. If you're those that are not disabled to warrant close parking and do it just for connivance, shame on you. Story 14. People swearing and screaming at their fucking kids for being kids, and then when they're quietly playing amongst themselves, yell at them, "What the fuck are you two whispering about over there?" Then talk about how badly you need a break from them and a drink at the bar to your friend and let the whole apartment complex in on your latest drama. I was walking my cat in the complex commons, it has a small green park area, while I overheard one of the apartment neighbors screaming so horribly at their kids over the weekend. They passed by later, and the kids were well behaved while the mom was loudly yelling over the phone how she's so fucking stressed lately. And I was so tempted to yell back at her, "Nobody could fucking tell with the way you're fucking screaming about it and dealing with life like a fucking child worse than your own." But I didn't, because again, I was walking my cat and she was on the phone LOL. And I know not to confront people like that even if I want to. I went the right way and just told management about it. But it sticks in your head when your parents scream obscenities at you like that. And it hurts into adulthood. I ran away from my parents to avoid that. And it's why we are waiting to have kids of our own. I understand poverty exacerbates issues and stress, but treating children you decided to have like trash because you're stressed is not an excuse. If you think punishing your kids properly is screaming / yelling / swearing / hitting / throwing / or neglecting them just for being children, then you're a bad parent, and I can judge you for it, as I judged my own. OFC, my parents have trauma too, and I'm empathetic to that. But damn, some people are just so harsh. Then the opposite is true as well. There's a kid in my brother's school whose mom gives them illegal meds to use and sell at school, and I told him if he's caught doing that again, it happens again, he needs to report it because that's child abuse as well. There's nuance to parenting, and being overly permissive or overly restrictive, or both can be very damaging to your children's development and well-being into adulthood, and they'll get triggered at neighbors doing the same thing, LOL 8. Like this neighbor over-controls her kids, and there's others that just let theirs run rampant round town, throwing rocks, being devious, and it's like, balance with that would be nice tilde. Story 15. Body count and men who forgive wives who get pregnant with another man's child. This one is from a random podcast where a guy forgave his wife of many years for being pregnant with a coworker's child and Key Head was fuming. He was talking all that, "you be happy" nonsense. Pissed me the frick off to listen to him. I forgot the name of the podcast or episode, it was months ago. Story 16. People who are too pathetic to do anything themselves, and the first thing they do upon any slight hindrance or challenge is ask for help, before an attempt is even made to do it without involving another person. Like people should at least attempt to do something on their own before bothering someone else. Some people think other people exist to make their life easier. Personally, asking for help is a last resort. Surely a healthy lifestyle is in the middle somewhere. Story 17. Look, I think if someone is out in public with an appearance wildly different to the norm, you have the right to secretly judge them. If you treat that person any different because of it, that's when you become TA. But if I pass by someone with a 3-foot-tall mohawk, or a man wearing a prom dress in the middle of the day, or IDK something totally random, there's a chance I'll judge them. TBH, I'd also judge someone for having a mustache. Doesn't mean I think less of them. Story 18. Fathers being deliberately useless. Both my sisters have useless lumps for baby daddies. B can't hold a job and considers watching the kids to be putting in a movie for them while he plays video games. Does 0 actual parenting. Kids are 3 and 5. The other I picks up his daughters for visits and immediately drops them off with his mom so he can go be with his current woman. Kids are 4 and 12. My dad was also a useless lump. He sat on his ass and collected unemployment, let my sister pay the bills when she moved in, the sister with B, and smoked himself to death. If you're having kids and not actually parenting them, and there's nothing preventing you from doing so, I slide straight into the judgment space. Story 19. Homophobia, racism, classism, xenophobia, ableism, Holocaust-denying fascism, pedophilia, rape, molestation, sexual abuse, physical abuse, child prawn, among a few other things. If you are a part of any of these, done any of these, participated or endorsed any of these, then I will judge you and find you severely lacking, with some finding you lacking in the right to breathe, i.e. child molestation, child abuse/rape/pedo, and I will not apologize for it. Story 20. I find racism and racists really disgusting. Total oh hell no in my book, and I call it out. And I really don't ever look at that person the same way ever again, if I look at them at all, and I absolutely will and do shun them. But it was pointed out to me that that is probably a reflection of my upbringing. Like, the point made was that I'm a judgmental asshole, but othering racists happens to be in fashion at this time and place, so I'm really no different than racists. So now I'm kind of confused because I'm certain that it's okay to judge racists and other horrible people, but I don't have a great response to that person's point. Story 21. People doing things that actively hurt other people. Not just hurt their feelings, like cause them physical pain or violation or undue stress and hardship. So yeah, people who rape, murder, assault, severely harass, steal, abuse children/elderly/animals, things like that. I'd take that much more seriously than someone just having a different lifestyle, personal quirks, bad habits, or points of view that I don't like. If we don't keep our distance from people with a history of that, we're not just being non-judgmental, we're taking very poor care of ourselves and discounting the pain of others. Story 22. Shunning others. Personally, I believe that part of why we're so polarized these days is because we cut others off for disagreeing with us. Even in cases where the disagreement might warrant it, the main result is that these people end up gathering together in groups since nobody else will want to be around them. This leads to a phenomenon called group polarization, and largely accounts for the insanity of the modern alt-right. Story 23, being an influencer. I went to an event with a friend who brought along her influencer friend. She spent the whole time setting up staged photographs, when she wasn't complaining about everything, then posted about how great it was the next day. I refused to go anywhere with her again. If it wasn't for that, I'm sure she would have been a nice girl. But she was just way too obsessed with the image of the night she was creating. She didn't have any fun, and she ruined it for others. Story 24. Literally anything is okay to be judgmental about. It's okay to say whatever you want about anyone. If people think you're a jerk, they can say so, and unfriend you. Like literally if you want to spew hate speech, I'll defend your right to do that, and probably also not be your friend. I'm extremely in favor of freedom of thought and freedom of speech. I also think we need to bring back sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me, instead of teaching kids that they are fragile and can be harmed by speech. Story 25. How someone treats staff in retail. I'm lucky to not have had many issues where I work, but some people treat retail staff as subhuman for no reason. They expect nothing less than perfection, and/or fail to comprehend the most basic of explanations, like why they can't have what they're asking for, why their total is pricier than they expected, Oregonites with no sales tax love that one, or why they can't do whatever they're doing in the store, probably breaking shit, and thinking they don't have to buy it. Also, just a word of advice from personal experience. If you see someone in the process of closing, don't make a mad dash to get inside so that the staff have to work longer than they're supposed to. It just shows that you're inconsiderate of anyone other than yourself. Story 26. I think it's okay to be somewhat judgmental about drugs and excessive alcohol use. Don't get me wrong, addicts shouldn't be judged for actually seeking help, but drugs use is pretty unpleasant for a host of reasons and damages society a lot. It will bring little good into your life to date or befriend a drug user. Usage is common within a lot of dark triad personality traits, so it's a useful red flag to note when looking for them. It's a form of unpleasant risk-taking. Stealing to fund habits, inebriated users losing their inhibition, leading to any of the paranoia, psychosis, aggression, and/or violence, just horrible stuff. Story 27, music. There's lots of it out there, a lot of it is basically identical, and it's all subjective. It's okay to be a snob, at least you have thought about it long enough to have an opinion. In general, I think it's a matter of accepting what we are given, rather than actually having our own taste. A few more music snobs would do the music industry the world of good. Story 28. Knowingly dating, sleeping with someone who is already in a committed relationship. No, I don't think the person your spouse cheated on you with should get all the blame or even the brunt of it. Your partner is the one who had a responsibility towards you, and it's ultimately on them to uphold the trust. But I will absolutely still judge the fuck out of the person who knowingly participated in hurting another person that badly. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, like it, be sure to write comments and share your stories.